The Bengals are headed to Nashville this week to take on the Titans. We'll have your preview coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
I'm AC Zim.
We got a special show as always.
The voice of the Bengals. Dan Ford, Willie Anderson, Corey Dillon.
The name of this thing is called Wincinnati, and I'm not going to stop.
Talk to us about that roller coaster season.
I'm still going to give you the same AJ.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best.
Always working ever since I met y'all, boy.
I got to get your top 5 receivers.
Better, man. It was good.
Watch out for us.
Welcome to our Week 4 preview of Bengals versus Titans here on the Wincinnati podcast. We are going trips. We are going 3 wide here tonight. Sovah here with you, hosting with Ace, with Zim. How you guys doing today?
Doing good, bro. Can't wait to get to Tennessee.
You going to Tennessee?
No, we're going to Tennessee. The whole team going to Tennessee. I'm actually not going, but
I was like, oh, you going out there with fans of Cincinnati? You about to turn up? Oh! Nah, yeah, man, I feel good. I'm pretty hyped. Let's get it.
Why do you think the Bengals have sort of had their number the last couple times going to Tennessee? This is the 3rd year in a row.
Ryan Tannehill. That's one of the biggest reasons that the Bengals have had their number, and Joseph Burrow for sure.
He just told like an inside joke, and everybody's like, "What?" so yeah, I just from day one since Joe Burrow was a rookie, man, I just felt like he liked the matchup versus Vrabel, like, and I think that every single time that he's played them, he's got some very memorable throws, very memorable plays. I think probably the best throw he's ever thrown at Tyler Boyd, damn near no look pass, is Joe Burrow's first time, where he took a bad Bengals team against a really good Titans team at the time. I think they were like 4-2, 5-2 at the time or something like that. So Titans were really good, and he just had their way, and I just feel like they've never really had an answer for him in that regard. And then Bengals just play some of their best ball. And then I'm going to tell you from a fan standpoint, they travel so well. Bengals fans travel so well to Nashville, and you're going to see that on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that throw because I was if you didn't. But I'm glad you also mentioned Joe Burrow on the show today. We're going to talk about him. He went full participation in practice today. We'll tell you why that's big news for today and going forward. We'll dive deeper into this matchup with the Titans, talking about the offensive and defensive game plans, what they need to do to stop Derrick Henry, to get this offense going. We will talk about all that, and we will look at our favorite matchups on Sunday. Lots to look at on the defensive side of the ball, especially as they look to kind of continue the momentum that they had from the other night. So all that is coming up next here on the Wincinnati podcast. So where we are leading off is with our quarterback, as we usually do here. Joe Burrow, they didn't officially practice yesterday, but they listed him if they would have as a full participant because today on Thursday, he was a full participant. And that's a really big deal going forward. Last week, he didn't really have a full participation the entire week until really kind of the walkthrough. Here's what his receiver, Jamar Chase, said about Joe Burrow, now more of a pocket guy.
Do you notice a difference from him this week, just as far as how he's acting, how healthy he looks?
No, he looks normal to me. I mean, I don't think he doesn't even look like he's hurt right now. I mean, he's just a pocket quarterback, looking like Peyton Manning, I would say. You know what I'm saying? He's just chilling in my pocket, so can't really tell nothing.
Can he still be one of the great quarterbacks in the game, just as a pocket quarterback?
I believe so, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I know you guys talked about the other day on Tuesday, you guys talked about, how the short week could affect him. And Chase here talked about Joe Burrow being more like a pocket passer. Now, I mean, does he sort of have to learn to evolve his game into more of a strictly, while he's hampered here, does he have to start to learn to be more of a strictly pocket passer? Ace, I want to start with you on this.
I mean, the remix is I'm in the pocket like Burrow, is it not? Like Burrow from the pocket is surgical. It does suck that the extending the play, which is something that he's known for, isn't there as much. But him being a pocket passer, I think, is something that he's used to, and that's going to be key in this game. Is giving him the space to be able to step up in the pocket because we know that he does have the calf issue there. So I think him being a pure pocket passer is fine. I think he can be like Peyton Manning. I think he can get the reads. I think he can run when he needs to, but it shouldn't be the primary focus. So I like the fact that they're using him as a pocket passer, and hopefully that helps the offense be more surgical on the field against a really bad passing defense.
I think Joe Burrow, what makes him special is his ability to improvise and extend plays. Like him as a pocket passer, to me, makes him like just a top 5, maybe even top 10 quarterback in the NFL. It makes him really good. His decision-making is elite, but taking that portion away from his game is what takes him away from being the second best quarterback in the NFL to like number 8, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to quantify it, but to me, that's the difference. Now, with that said, you saw last week, it's just you can't have mistakes. You can't have drops because normally Joe Burrow bails them out. There was a play I remember on like 3rd and 4, and I'm like, bro, normally I know he would have ran for it. Like we watched him run and go win games, like run, like AFC Championship 2021. I don't know how many yards he had, but he scrambled like so much and just ran. So it's not that he can't do it. It just makes it so that it has to be error-free football on offense. Everybody walks away from the games. And I thought the Ravens game was like that too, where everybody's like, man, it's just more to be desired. I'm like, bro, like the defense cannot do this. You got to extend, you know what I'm saying? So it just limits the errors that you can have. You can't have false starts. You were 3rd and 1 and went to a 3rd and 11 this past week. Like you can't do that. And everybody knows that you have no ability to run. So those are the things that, I think about when I think about him as just a pocket passer, which I've never looked at him at.
I mean, I know we're going back to the scene of the crime 2 years ago, sacked 9 times and still overcame that. How much do you think, Zim, do you think we'll see the old Burrow, like, if you had to give a percentage of like how much mobility he have and we could see this week?
35% of real shiesty. Like shiesty is not Joe Burrow. Shiesty is like I'm taking your heart out. You know what I mean? Now some of that does come in the form of throwing, but just mobility wise or whatever, like 35%. You might give him like two rollout type things. I think in his mind, he's like, even if I feel like I could do it, I'm gonna live to play another down. Don't want to re-aggravate this because this is that's his version of sitting to me. You know what I mean? Like that one run he had in the Ravens game, whatever, that 5-yard scramble, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like, I probably shouldn't do that often. And if somebody's after me, I'm probably going to he might take, like there might be some games coming up where guys are all on him. He might throw it away really quick, or he might just drop down really quick. That's like his version of sitting it out where people say, man, I'm so afraid he'll get hurt. He'll react to it, like that way, where Shiesty would be like, yeah, I think I can get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I just think you're at that 35% mark.
Ace, how much Shiesty do we get Sunday?
I tend to agree with Zim. I don't think that they are going to get too shiesty on it because, obviously he's got the groin injury. I mean, not the groin, but the calf injury. He doesn't want to re-aggravate that. So unless it's called for, unless the game is on the line, I don't think that we're going to get much shiesty. So I would put it, like Zim is saying, at 35 to 30%.
Well, a couple of other guys that are dealing with their own injuries have not practiced this week. And that's tight end Irv Smith Jr. with the hamstring. And this one's kind of a surprise. Wide receiver, punt returner, rookie Charlie Jones with the thumb. He hasn't practiced either this week. Is it Tanner Hudson's season? I mean, I know we saw some glimpses. He had 2 catches for 30 yards the other night. How do the losses of these guys, if they're unable to go Sunday, affect the offense and special teams? Ace, what do you think?
Charlie Jones is huge because when you talk about special teams, he's the punt returner. I don't even know who the backup punt returner is right now. Obviously, he had the first punt return touchdown since 2012 with Adam
It got to be
Jones.
Chris Evans, right?
It may be Chris Evans. I know he's the kick returner, but I don't know about for punt. But for me, that's major there. When you talk about Irv Smith Jr., I think the Irv Smith Jr. one, not that Irv Smith Jr. isn't a great player, but I think what you saw from Tanner Hudson last game, Mitchell Wilcox, Andrew Sample, you were able to build off of that this week. And I think T. Huddy could really be a big factor in this game. But Charlie Jones worries me because the special teams aspect of that, field position and stuff like that, I just wonder where we go, especially without Trent Taylor on the team anymore.
I'm going to tell you one crazy takeaway because I got some really good notes on the Titans and Browns game. I did have enough time this week to rewatch it a couple times, actually. The Titans punted really well. I know that's like something that people probably aren't talking about like in general, but they had to punt a good amount of times, but they punted really well. And if whoever's back there doesn't know what they're doing, you know, that could be a big thing. But Charlie Jones, I don't know if you highlighted this, his thumb is currently in a splint. So I don't think he's playing at all. I really don't. Like, you can't handle, you know, punts with a splint on. You probably could play wide receiver, but I don't think you would even play like that with that. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen Tyler Boyd wear the splint a couple times, wrap it up heavy. You could maybe muster it out, but your thumb kind of handles, like, you know what I'm saying, the fielding of a punt. So I don't think he plays. The Irv Smith one, I don't think it's that major, you know, in this regard that you saw a good amount from T. Huddy where you feel good. I want to see less Wilcox and Sample, in my opinion. But I will say this, like we highlighted on the last show, Sample, I thought had the two biggest blocks, like week 2 and week 3. I thought he had the biggest blocks in both of those games. So that's not to be under. We were sold that he was going to be this blocking tight end. And I feel like this year, I feel like it's really coming to fruition.
Are you surprised what Hudson gave the offense the other night?
Nope.
Not at all.
Nope. I bet I was when I started the T. Huddy tribe on Twitter, it's one of those things where when he played in those moments in those preseason games, or whether it was practice or whatever, he never looked like, at times he looked like he belonged in the National Football League as a starting tight end against lesser talent. And that's what you wanted. And I don't know how he fares, you know, with, you know, the elites and good defenses and all these different things, but he for sure belongs in the NFL. I don't expect him to, you know, like make drops. I don't expect him to fall on the ground. I also don't know if he's giving me a big explosive plays either. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, I feel like he's so reliable at this point as a pass catcher. His blocking, I haven't really watched too much of that, but I'm hoping. I mean, he's a big guy, man. I'm hoping that he can offer something there too.
I'm not that play up the seam, man. It was like I thought 87 was out there for a second, man. It was like Uzama from 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, speaking of the impact that he had on the offense, guys, let's look at the game plan for the Bengals offense going against this Titans defense. Ace, what do you think the Bengals look to do on offense?
What they usually do. Everybody knows about their 9-8-9 concept. That works perfect against the cover 4, which the Titans run a lot of. So any kind of post routes, any kind of dagger concepts, I think will definitely help them. But it really starts up front with protecting number 9. They get a lot of internal pressure. When you look at the sack percentage from the Titans side of things, Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, those are the guys. Danico Autry is responsible for 35% of the sacks that they have. Then you go to Jeffrey Simmons at 20%. You still have to watch out for Harold Landry, but that we talked about Joe Burrow working from the pocket. He has to be able to step up in that pocket and take advantage of guys like Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton's having one of the worst seasons. Amari Cooper put him in a spin cycle last week, and he's just been really giving up a lot. So attacking those receivers, I don't know if this is the game for the run. They're extremely good against the run. Teams are only getting about 2.6 yards per carry against this defense. Not the defense that you want to run against, but a defense that is susceptible to those post routes, to those dagger routes, to those dig routes, and that's what the Bengals like to do. So I think it's going to be working well to the Bengals' advantage. They're not going to really send too many rushers. For the most part, they rush 4 rushers 81% of the time. So it's just going to be a situation where you have to protect Burrow, obviously not have any turnovers. This isn't a defense that gets many turnovers. But as long as they do that, go out, score, get consistent, score in the red zone, which they're doing 60% of the time, they should be able to walk out of here with a win.
Tim, what do you think?
I thought Ace highlighted some really good stuff, man, for sure. I wanted to highlight on the Titans defense. One guy that kind of popped out on film for me though was Roger McQuarrie, his second year guy. He had about 10 tackles. He did have a play on the inside seam that he gave up. I thought he was in good position, but that's a play I'm sure you like to have back. Armani Hooker, who came back, also had 11 tackles, had a pretty good game. But what the Browns did early in that game, they started off the game with a 7-8 minute drive. And once they did that, and you get points and stuff off of this stuff, it puts the Titans behind the 8 ball because what they really want to do is feed the beast in Derrick Henry. Interesting stat for Derrick Henry. Schwartz was putting 8, 9 in the box a lot, at least showing it pre-snap. Derrick Henry was hit 2 yards per contact. In that, I mean, he averaged 2 yards per contact. That's essentially getting the ball 6 feet behind the line of scrimmage and getting hit every single time in all of those instances. So I think that, it's not that Derrick Henry's falling off. It's just that Schwartz was like, we're gonna take it to you. And if you go out of it and then it's play action, we're not fearful for your wide receivers. We'll just go back and cover them and we'll go man. Now, will Lou go man with D-Hop? Will he go man with these guys? Like, I don't know. But it was very interesting how many resources he allocated to stopping the run. I thought that was really big. But I was really impressed with Roger McCreary in the game. So that's a guy to watch, though. In coverage, though, like I said, he had a couple plays I think he'd like to have back, like 2, really. But
is that somebody you would see on T. Higgins or?
No, Tyler Boyd. And I think Tyler Boyd could route him up. So he played a lot, the majority of snaps through the nickel. I think Tyler Boyd could route him, but at the same time, he's a good tackler and he's one of the better players on their team. They got some guys coming back soon, like what's his name, Fareed. He's been suspended, so they just let him start practicing, I think, this week, but he's not playing in the game. But it's some guys that they're going to need like coming up pretty soon. But they're at a point of panic in a way after they got beat so bad by the Browns. If you watch most of the stuff or listen to a lot of the things that they were saying, they're in that mode where they're now starting to get into that let's see who's really on the team, like moving forward mode. Let's have that conversation about, dude, we got 2 guys behind Tannehill. Like this could be the beginning of the end for them. And they got a lot riding on this game. So I want people to understand. I don't know what you're thinking that they want, but this is like do or die for their season at this point. They're at a crossroads of making some decisions about their roster and playing young guys in this game if they were to lose this bad boy.
Right. After the game that T had last week, do you think there's any emphasis on the game plan to try and like lift him back up a little bit and get him going?
Definitely, for sure. I think you're definitely going to see them try to get T some confidence, throw him some layup balls early on so he can keep riding that momentum. And we know his history against the Titans. He's from Tennessee, so I expect him to have a really big game, especially with family members there to see him. So I think they will toss him some layups to get him going.
Yeah, I think that, it's a homecoming party. I talked to the fam earlier today, and I mean, they're like, yeah, this is one. And I think Joe Burrow early in his game will try to get him involved. Like that's what he does when one of his guys kind of has like a down game. If you're playing fantasy and might be getting a little hit, I would play T. Higgins this week. I think that they're going to go to him early and often, and I think he's going to be a big part of this game. I think some of the guys that I even named, like a McQuarrie, if he were to get matched up, that's a big matchup discrepancy in height, so there's a lot of different things that I think that they could take advantage of. You got the Jamar, like with his childhood friend and Christian Fulton. That's a matchup to watch where you're going to see Jamar talking. You're going to see him. So like they're hyped for this game. I think Ace was talking about their pass defense earlier. I mean, Deshaun Watson probably had his best game as a Brown. And a lot of it was the Titans having him ready to wrap up, and he would just escape a lot of it. And that's another thing that I hate, that Joe Burrow isn't like shiesty in this game, and he's got to maneuver from the pocket. But I do think that Vrabel's a very, very smart coach, and he's going to key in on a lot of that stuff. So they're going to have to implore like a lot of those they might have to do 2 fake screens, handoff, draw plays, different things like that to keep them guessing, and might not be in the first half. They make their adjustments, but they're going to have to do some stuff because they're going to be sitting on all that underneath stuff. If somebody's coming hot on a blitz, Joe Burrow's got to hit the man, and I think T. Huddy could come back and have another good game. Like, that's a guy that I think can, stretch the seams and be able, if they come with a blitz or whatever, that's the guy 9 times out of 10 that isn't going to be accounted for. And if he is, it's going to be single coverage, as we saw in the Kyle Hamilton one where he makes a shoestring tackle. He doesn't make that tackle on Irv Smith, he's probably gone. T. Huddy's going to be in that same position on Sunday.
Well, you mentioned fantasy. We'll get to that in a little bit, so hold on. Keep that in your back pocket. You also mentioned Derrick Henry. And it's all eyes on Derrick Henry this week. Obviously, any team that plays the Titans, he is the one true legitimate offensive weapon. But in the past few meetings, the Bengals have really had his number and have done a great job of containing him. And Derrick Henry knows this. Here's what he had to say about that earlier today.
It's been a better team. The last couple of times we played them, and credit goes to them. The game plan they put in, they've worked, and we didn't execute enough to be able to have success against those guys to be able to win. So they have had great game plans against us. The credit goes to them. But hopefully we come out here and get better every day and let it transition to Sunday. I know they didn't get off to a great start, but they're still a great team, so it's going to be a tough matchup.
He doesn't sound too enthusiastic about this one.
No, he does not. But also, in all fairness, earlier in the press conference, he talked about how he was limited last week, and it's really sort of fueled him coming into this week, not wanting to have 2 bad games in a row. Not that we care. But obviously, DJ Reader's going to be a big part. We always talk about how huge he is against the run. But how important are the Bengals linebackers going to be this Sunday in all phases? Because it's not just against the run with Derrick Henry. If you remember last year, he took that screen pass like 80 yards before CTB knocked it out at the goal line and they recovered in the end zone. So he's a threat in multiple ways. How important are the Bengals linebackers going to be?
Very important, man. Like, that second level, you got to believe that. I think that Lou's going to show him a lot of stuff I was saying that Schwartz was showing too, like those looks. When he's not in those looks and he gets to that second level, now the Titans' offensive line has been playing pretty bad. But if he gets to that second level, I mean, you got to get him down close to the line of scrimmage. He gets out in the open field. I don't care how good you feel about Logan Wilson or Pratt. Derrick Henry one-on-one in space with anybody is about to give you a stiff arm like that can throw you into oblivion. I don't know. I don't even have the word for you. Like, you don't want to get him out with a fast pace or like a pace at all. So you want to catch him while he's not like leaning forward. Because if you do, you need help, just like this picture is showing right here. So they need that.
Yeah, I think definitely super important in this game because the linebackers with DJ Reader and BJ Hill trying to penetrate that offensive line are going to have to push it off to somebody like Logan and Jermaine Pratt to make plays. They're huge in this game. I mean, Derrick Henry accounts for 25% of the touchdowns that this offense has scored. They haven't scored much, but it has been mostly Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, and Westbrook, the wide receiver. So you stop Derrick Henry in this game, that's a key to winning this game. I mean, the Browns held them to 10 yards last week, and we saw what happened, especially if you can stop them, get the ball to your offense, get a good lead, that takes Derrick Henry out of the game. So if the linebackers can do that early, that's going to help them. It's also going to be a big game for them. We're watching Logan Wilson come off of a game where he was able to get 2 interceptions. He could possibly see a key or a read or something like that to get them an interception against Ryan Tannehill, who will give you the ball back. So I think the linebackers are extremely important in this game and definitely will have an impact on this come Sunday.
Yeah, Ace, look at this graphic here. I mean, Logan Wilson is the 3rd lowest passer rating allowed in the NFL for linebackers. Like, what are we seeing here that, kind of separates him from other people at his position?
The interceptions and the coverage skills. I mean, Logan Wilson last season, I won't say that he followed up 2021 with the same kind of season. I think this season, he's starting it out similar to 2021, where he started off with the 2 picks that we saw early against the Steelers. I think he's in another zone. I think right now those Bengals linebackers, as the linebacker coach has stated many times, are underrated. I think him and Jermaine Pratt are underrated. And so I think he's finally getting some of the credit he deserves. His ball skills are second to none. I mean, the numbers don't lie, man. This is a guy that was able to get that interception against Ryan Tannehill and the Titans to help seal the game in the fourth quarter, as you're showing right now. Logan Wilson is huge in this game, and he's definitely on a different level, especially when it comes to coverage in a league where you have to have linebackers that can cover tight ends, slot receivers, and guys that can get in space and do some things. So I think Logan Wilson, he brings something very different and very unique that a lot of linebackers cannot do in the league. And that is why I feel like this might be a top 5 season for him.
Awesome. Zim, I want to start with you here. Which matchups for the Bengals defense do you feel like are favorable for them this weekend?
On the Bengals defensive side of the ball.
Correct. Like,
I like
is it
CT
Trey Hendrickson? Is it, kind of those players?
Right. I like CTB versus Hopkins. I feel like CTB is playing some of the best ball he's ever played coming out of the playoffs. I mean, he's just picked up right where he left off. I think that physical corner that could go match up with him. I think a lot of times they're going to need run support. He's one of the bigger hitting cornerbacks in the NFL. I think D Hop is an underrated blocker too. But I mean, in coverage wise, I like that in a one-on-one. I feel like Treylon Burks is a guy that could maybe get matched up with him too. So they got some big guys. I just don't think that the deep threat or getting behind like a Dax Hill or somebody like that or Nick Scott is as pertinent as it was the week before. So I'm looking for guys that probably go a little bit more man and just go run support. They got to implore a lot of what they've done before. I like Mike Hilton in this matchup also against their offensive line.
Week with the
Titans, it's always right? A Mike Hilton because he goes so low on his tackles to go at Derrick Henry and take out those ankles, and then you got another guy like Logan Wilson or somebody else out. I like that. You talked about Trey Hendrickson, Andre Dillard. I think what's the numbers, Ace? How many sacks has he given up already?
6 through 3 games.
6 sacks in 3 games. The Bengals had
more
6
than the
sacks.
Entire Bengals offensive line through 3 games.
So I feel like Trey Hendrickson. I mean, they tried to chip Myles Garrett. They tried to do a lot. Like I said, I rewatched this game twice. They tried to do a lot, and it wasn't enough to help them. They gave up a crazy sack right before the half that you got to be like, if you're a Titans fan, you got to be like, yeah, I want Tannehill out of here at this point. He's got some bad plays that were displayed in that game, and I think Andre Dillard, they got another guy I forgot possibly coming back this week, so keep an eye on him. I think it's Bunsen or something like that. I'm sorry, his name escapes me, but they do have an offensive lineman that they're thinking can come back and maybe help them. So you got that. Those are the matchups that I like. And then I mean, at the end of the day, like we said, I think I like T Higgins, the size against any of their corners, and I think that he's due for a big game after what happened last week. Tyler Boyd, maybe not so much this week, but T Huddy is another guy. I just think that their tight ends had a real big problem blocking this past week too. Gave up a lot of different stuff in the run game as well. When I was talking about the yards per contact, and that was one of the things I was looking at. So I think if T Huddy can get past that, be able to on the opposite end and do what he's got to do on his end, I think it could kind of counter a lot of the things that they want to do, and we do it the right way. And there's a lot of different things.
Ace, what about you? Any matchups that you're looking forward to on defense?
Yeah, I think like Zim is saying, Hendrickson is the obvious one against Dillard. Dillard is just struggling there. Peter Skoronski has still not practiced as of today, hasn't practiced 3 days in a row. He's a Pro Bowl caliber kind of guard for them, but his backup is Dylan Radins. And I think that BJ Hill, a lot of people don't realize this, BJ Hill is responsible for 25% of the Bengals sacks. He's off to a good start. I think he could be a factor lining up against a Dylan Radins. You also talk about DJ Reader against Brewer. The entire offensive line for the Titans is just not good. Like, they are even considering moving guys all over the line right now. So I think that defensive line against them is definitely going to be a huge one. And I also feel like Ryan Tannehill just against the entire Bengals defense. This is a Bengals defense, as I said earlier, that generates turnovers, Ryan Tannehill is turning the ball over. He's got 3 interceptions on the season. He has the worst QBR in all of football by ESPN's metrics. He is the 32nd ranked quarterback. That means as a fully healthy individual, he's still worse than Joe Burrow with a calf injury. That is how bad Ryan Tannehill is playing. So I'm going to take the Bengals defense in that matchup all day.
Let me play, just to continue this Tannehill discussion, let me play devil's advocate for a second and ask, let's say that his first half is so bad that at this point they feel like they need to turn to one of these young guys. Does that concern you at all, seeing like maybe not so much with Levis, who might be more of a similar type player, but if like a Malik Willis comes in and now you're playing against a completely different style quarterback, does that make you nervous at all?
It kind of does. I think it's a different look for sure. And whenever we've seen the Bengals go against quarterbacks that they're not used to, they tend to kind of struggle because you have to make those in-game adjustments. And that's, like you pointed out, Sovah, a huge adjustment to go from Ryan Tannehill to Malik Willis. And also, if they do bring in Malik Willis, which I think they are planning on, because this is a Ryan Tannehill like legacy game essentially at this point, then they're probably going to have some kind of offensive plays just for him. It probably will be simple, but we saw them struggle against Lamar Jackson, a mobile quarterback. So I would say I'm not scared of him, but I would be like, oh man, what are we going to do now against this situation? And if guys can get to him, he might be able to get away.
Malik? I'm packing him up. I don't think anything of Tannehill, I assure you, but if Malik Willis come out there, it's going to be the worst game of his life. It's going to be a PJ Walker situation, like 5-9 yard type thing. I promise you. Like, he'll get packed crazy. Like, he's going to catch a couple Houday stripes on his helmet. It's going to be a couple orange marks on him. Like, they're going to hit, and I dare him to run. Like, that's the last thing on earth that they want to do. Stick with Tannehill. Try to run the football, work play action off of it. If they don't run the football, they can't win the game, period.
All right. Let's take things to the fantasy side. I mean, let's pack them up. I got it. I feel you.
I'm telling you, it's going to be ugly if dude come out there. I'm telling you right now, Lou Dini is not playing with nobody like that. You better be accurate with the football. You better make quick decisions, and those are 2 things that Malik Willis isn't.
I would agree. We're gonna go fantasy forecast for this game this time. I still want to start someone you want to start. I still want someone you would sit. I still want a sleeper. You now, however, get to choose between both teams. Any player from either team can be in this category. Ace, let's start with you.
I'm starting Jamar Chase against Fulton. Fulton's not having a good season. We saw what Jamar Chase was able to do with the career high of targets last week. I think that he continues that against his buddy. He talked about now he has to put his boy on a plate and eat him. I think that's what's going to happen in this game is Jamar is going to go in against his boys. So give me Jamar Chase in this one.
I'm starting T. Higgins. Like, he's coming back home. Had a rough week last week. I think they'll have design plays for T. Higgins in this game.
Ace, let's look at who are we going to sit, Ace?
I'm saying Ryan Tannehill, guys. I mean, I don't know how many rosters he's on. Even if you're desperate this week, you don't start anybody against this Bengals pass defense that's extremely stingy. So I would sit Ryan Tannehill this week if I were a Ryan Tannehill owner.
Yeah, I think we're going for like leagues that you play 3 quarterbacks the same week.
He's got to be on waivers.
Hey, bro, I had a rough week last week. I had to play Gardner Minshew because I wasn't sure Joe Burrow was going to play because of Monday night, and I didn't want to get caught in a jam. And I had Anthony Richardson as my other quarterback. I had to go get Gardner. So that's a Ryan Tannehill situation. In that case, I still would sit him going up against the Bengals. But
how'd that turn out for Gardner Minshew?
It got me decent points. I got crushed, bro. It was like I got crushed by like 100 points. Like, the dude I was playing was on fire. Like, I got killed. What I was gonna say, this might not. I would have to see the person's roster, but I would probably sit D-Hop. But it like say like on my team, like my third, fourth wide receivers like Tyler Lockett. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had a situation, I would sit him. Also on a Bengals side, I would sit Joe Mixon. I'm sorry, like I hope he's not watching this, but I would sit Joe Mixon on that side, on the Bengals side, and then I said.
Well, let's kick it right back to you, Zim. Who you got for a sleeper? Either team.
Sleeper, I'm gonna go Treylon Burks. I think that last time that we did see them with the AJ Brown plays, like in the playoffs, that he makes some big plays. I think Burks is capable of making some big plays, high point in the football, maybe get one-on-one with a Woozier. Woozier still getting back from the injury, maybe get matched up on a rookie or something, use his size. He's not slow, he's a big guy, and I feel like if he had a better quarterback delivering the football, I think people will kind of look at him a little bit better. Him and Christian Watson are a lot in that mode where I'm just like, man, if they had like really good quarterbacks, I think you would see a lot more from them. But that's my sleeper for them. A low-key sleeper, if you had like we talked about T. Huddy a lot. I would have to see your roster, but if your number one's hampered or something like that, I think T. Huddy can give you like maybe 4 catches, 68 yards, maybe a tutty. You don't know.
Maybe. Ace, what about you? Got a sleeper from this game?
Yeah, it won't seem like a sleeper, but based on how he's performed through the first 3 games, he's only had 3 fantasy points, 15, and then 8. It's going to be Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow is giving you at least 20-plus fantasy points this weekend. I think he's more comfortable. I think this is a defense that he can take advantage of in the secondary. As we mentioned, we both picked Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to be the guys that you start. Who's throwing them the ball? Joseph Burrow. So I think if you are a Joe Burrow owner and you've been on the fence, this is the game to start Joe Burrow.
I'm a Joe Burrow owner, bro. I should start Joe Burrow.
Yes, sir.
Hey, can I switch my pick though? I want to go with the Burrow thing. I wasn't even thinking like that. I'm just so like in this, like they humbled me a little bit. I'm just like, please, like I'm like, oh, well, maybe we'll get 250 from Burrow. The real savage mode, Burrow is like, I'm like, yeah, I'm about to put 300 on you. I had to chill out a little bit until Burrow feels but that is a great sleeper pick. I don't know why I didn't think of that.
All right. Well, for fantasy, I think we got you covered there. Now to the betting side of things, we want to open up the Wincinnati Bettors Guide here and look at the total for Sunday's game, 41.5 total points, Bengals Titans. Ace, are you taking the over or the under here?
Man, this is tough. Is there any kind of crazy weather forecast this week? Is it something similar to what we saw in Cleveland?
I hope not.
I'm not sure, but either way, I think give me the over in this one. I think the Bengals are – well, actually, you know what? Give me the under. No, I'm going to take the under. Both of these offenses have consistently struggled. I would hope that they get on track, but I think 41.5 for both of these two teams that just haven't been consistent, it could be an under game. So give me the under.
Monday night score would have hit this under, so
I was going to take the under. I was going to take the under 2. Titans lead the all-time series 40-37 in the tie, but in the last 4 matchups, they had a 36. We beat them 20-16. They also had a 19-16 score where we beat them again. We also had the big one, that's Burrow's rookie season, 31-20. And then way before in 2017, they cleared the 44 mark on the over, on the exercise we're doing. I'm going to go under. I just feel like the last 2 matchups are a little bit closer to what I think like is coming up with a hampered Burrow, a little bit of unsurety. I think you're thinking about time of possession for both teams, doing what they want to do. And I think that's literally like the game plan for like both of the teams is like, let me get these Bengals long-standing drives to keep Derrick Henry off the field and force them into passing situations. Titans, let's strengthen, let's slow down the game, bleed it out so that Burrow is on the field less and he has less opportunities to cook us. I think that bodes well for like a under on the 41. Somewhere like you might get the same score like 2019, 2016 or something crazy like that.
So based on your score there, the Bengals actually going into Tennessee as a 2.5-point favorite. Do you think they cover this? Do you think they win by more than 2.5 points, or is it a close one for the Titans?
For sure.
What about you, Ace?
For me, it's hard to say because they're 0-2-1 against the spread this season. but I think that they cover this one. It's tough, but I think they cover this one in this game because I think a turnover gets them that covered aspect of the 2.5 points that they need to get that. So I think if you're going against the spread, I think they'll actually get their first victory against the spread this season in Tennessee.
I think the Titans too, their roster, like they're at a crazy kind of soft rebuild point that our roster is so much better than theirs right now. And that's not to take away from their coaching, the toughness of them, and all these different things that you think of when you think of the Titans. It's not to say that they're a bad team, but from a talent standpoint, if Burrow was healthy, I think they would be like a 5.5 favorite on the road. So like that's how I feel about the game. And I think that if Burrow's just feeling, you talked about that 30-35% like mobility thing earlier. Say he comes out there and he's like 50 to 60%, and then I get a couple extra first downs. To me, that's how all these games have gone the last 2 weeks. Not for week one where we got stomped, but the last 2 weeks, you take away the bad interception in the Ravens game, maybe you win that game by 3 or 4 points. Last week in the Rams, you convert on and maybe the dude doesn't get that crazy interception. Bengals win 27-9 instead of,
Right.
If he doesn't do that and just gives you a couple extra whatever, I think it's like a 5.5, 6 point victory or something like that. It like from a spread perspective.
Yep, I agree. I think the Bengals cover. But I do think it is close. Now we can't obviously tell you how to spend your money, but we can tell you how we would spend your money, and that's what we've done here with the Wincinnati Bettors Guide. There's going to be a lot of cooking in Nashville this weekend, but don't forget, there's always a lot of cooking at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court. Saw Mama T went back-to-back weeks going to Midwest Best Barbecue. I saw someone in the comments say that before they go back to Minnesota, they wanted to stop by Midwest Best Barbecue. I hope that you did, because if you didn't and you're watching this now and you saw those Uno wings and you not hitting the gritty after eating them, I don't know what to tell you. Definitely make sure that you stop into Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Stop in and let them know Ace and Zim sent you. Great people, great food, and a great place to get some wings. So next, we want to talk about a man in the Bengal community and his child. Unfortunately, some things happen where we get cancer diagnoses, and I just wanted to bring some light to any of Who Dey Nation that's watching this. Coach Eric, if you know him from Twitter, he does a lot, and he actually brought out that one of his kids are going through cancer. So we went ahead, and if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this, go to the YouTube or go to his Twitter at Coach Eric J on Twitter and check it out. It's a good cause. They're trying to raise some money for cancer to defeat it. So let's all get together. Let's make sure we do our part. If you can give, that's fine. If you just want to reach out to him on Twitter at Coach Eric J, do that as well. But let's do something to make a difference. I mean, we've seen some people in the Bengals community affected by this. Unfortunately, there's another kid going through it as well. This is just personal to me, and I just want to help do my part and do our part to find a way to help. So shout out to Coach Eric, and praying for his family and his child, and hoping that we can make an impact here. So if you have it in your heart, or if you can find it in your heart, please be sure to donate to this cause if you can. All right, that's going to tee up fans of Cincy. This is going to be the big weekend. I hope you got your Nashville ticket. I hope you got your tailgate ticket. If you don't have it, it's not too late. Go to fansofcincy.com. Make sure you register for that today. You're going to get an open bar, food buffet, live DJ. Contact them if you need any of the details. They're going to give you an itinerary. They're going to link you with other Bengals fans in Nashville. If you're looking for the Who Dey tailgates, look no further than Fans of Cincy. Check them out today at Fans of Cincy on Twitter and fansofcincy.com. All right, well, that is going to wrap us up for this show. Zim, do you have any final thoughts, or Sovah, do you have any final thoughts on this game before we get out of here?
I'm going to kick it to Sovah. I feel like I talked a lot about this game. Sovah, what you got for us?
I think that, I think that the Bengals get back to 500 this week. I think they have the Titans number for a slew of reasons, and you guys have talked about a lot of those. I think we're going to see the start. We talked about it on Tuesday. This 3-game stretch going into the bye. These are 3 very winnable games, with Seattle being at the toughest. That's a home game. But if I'm telling you, they win this week, they go to Arizona and take care of business there, come home, take care of business. Then they've got the bye week to get healthy. Look out, because they're going to be coming hard and fast.
Pause. But yes, I agree with you. I think this is the momentum game right here, right? This is the next game after building the foundation off of that Rams game. This is the game where the Bengals are back. I think this is where they send the statement to the rest of the division. We're back. We got 2 guys in the division with the Browns and the Ravens taking each other on. So this is going to, I believe, get the Bengals back into position. So I can't wait for this one. Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say?
Yeah, no. Pause.
Wait, if you guys are watching, we're going to come to you guys every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Definitely be sure to tap in. Definitely be sure to hit that like button. That helps a lot of people find this if they're on YouTube. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button. That helps us out as well. We appreciate all the super chats, comments, and feedback. And also, please be sure to leave us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to your podcast at. And also be sure to check out the Bengals Post and all of the other great content on the Wincinnati Network, including Sovah's picks as well. So make sure that you guys check out all the content. We appreciate you guys and looking forward to Sunday. Who Dey?
Who Dey?
Who Dey?
It's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan.
I'm AC Zim.
We got a special show as always.
The voice of the Bengals. Dan Ford, Willie Anderson, Corey Dillon.
The name of this thing is called Wincinnati, and I'm not going to stop.
Talk to us about that roller coaster season.
I'm still going to give you the same AJ.
I'm going to work as hard as I can to be the best.
Always working ever since I met y'all, boy.
I got to get you a top 5 receiver.
Better, man.
It was good.
Watch out for us.